This is Business 110, Chapter 13. Now, usually I follow along pretty closely with the textbook. Well, I'm going to kind of deviate a little bit from the textbook this week because I think it's really important from a technology standpoint that you learn what I'm going to go over. You can read the chapter. It goes into things like LANs, local area networks, and databases. And as a student now, you have probably heard most of that already. In fact, you are probably more well-versed than I am in the world of technology and computers. So what I'm going to do is go over some of the inputs into a computer to make it better. So the first thing I'm going to go over is the definition between data and information. And data is just raw numbers, characters, letters. Data doesn't tell you anything. So in technology, it's important that you realize that just because you get some kind of output from a system, from a program, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's good information. So for something to be good information versus data, it has to be accurate, it has to be relevant, it has to be timely, it has to be understandable, and it has to be secure. So the best way that I can kind of explain this concept to you is to look at this string of numbers, okay? And if you were to just look at that string of numbers, you may be able to figure out what it is, you may not. So let me just change this string of numbers. What happens if I put that there? Well, now it's becoming a little bit more like information, right? We all know that that's a telephone number. But does that tell us anything? It doesn't. You just know that that's a telephone number. Who's it to? Is it relevant? Is it even accurate? So let me tell you what this telephone number goes to. This is my home phone number when I was growing up. I have not lived where this phone number is connected since I was 18 years old. So 40 plus years ago, this was my home phone number. It wasn't a cell phone, it was an actual phone that was connected to the wall, and it wasn't even push button, it was a rotary dial. So let's go and take a look at whether or not this is good information. Is it accurate? Yes, it is. I'm telling you, this was my phone number. Is it relevant? Probably not. Does anybody want my phone number from 40-something years ago? Is it timely? No. Is it understandable? Yeah, it is. We all know that that's a phone number. Is it secure? Well, we can debate that. It's secure in that everybody watching this video now has that number. But I hope that kind of gives you an idea of what is good information, because I believe that we get a lot of data thrown at us a lot. We get a lot of this stuff coming at us, but if we really stop and think about it, how much of it is good information? Now, some of it might be information, but it doesn't meet the definition of good information. So those 5 things are really important in the technology world, because without good information, how can you make good decisions? So while technology may give you a bunch of data, just having data doesn't mean that you can make good decisions based on that data. So, types of computer problems. So I'm going to tell you a true story. I went to school to get my PhD. Still haven't finished, but that's a whole different story. Anyway, I was working on my dissertation, my PhD dissertation. And for those of you who don't know, a PhD dissertation is just basically almost a book. It's usually between 300 and 500 pages long. And because I'm an idiot, I had my dissertation stored only on one place, and that was my home desktop. And guess what happened? Yep, I got some kind of worm or virus, and it completely wiped out, down to the operating system, my home computer. So I took it to the local computer repair place, literally in tears, and said, my life for the last year was on this computer. Help. And their first reaction was, we don't really know how much we can do. And I said, well, keep it as long as you need it. Do whatever you need to do. See what you can do. So it took them over a month, and I'm not even going to tell you how much it cost me, but they were able to retrieve most of my dissertation. I tell this story for a couple of reasons. First of all, so that you know that instructors are not always the smartest people in the room. And secondly, as a warning to you, if something is important, back it up, back it up, back it up. Don't have it on just one computer. Have it on a thumb drive. Save it to the cloud. Do whatever you need to do, but do not have just one copy of something that is important to you. In technology, in the business world, that is very important. So let's talk about types of computer problems. I'm thinking that you all probably know most of these. Worms and viruses are very similar. A worm gets into your system and goes all the way to your operating system. Viruses do not necessarily have to go to your operating system. There's all different kinds of viruses. One of the viruses that has been around for a long time is the virus is able to record all of your keystrokes. So if you are logging into online banking, which is something I do frequently, the virus is recording your keystrokes, and whoever put that virus on your computer is getting that information. They're also getting your login information. So that virus is recording all your keystrokes. Not exactly the nicest of things. Spam, we're all familiar with spam, but I want to bring your attention to something called a denial of service attack. This is when there is so much spam coming from one location that it literally overruns the routers, and the whole network collapses. And when I say so much spam, I'm talking about millions per second of spam trying to come through. Not just to you, but to, all bunches and bunches of people. So spam spam is annoying, okay? Spam is an unwanted email. So spam is annoying, but spam can also be dangerous because it can be the beginning of a denial of service attack. Phishing and pharming, very similar. One takes you to a website where you put in your personal information, and it may look like a website that you're used to going to, but it's not. One of the ones, AT&T. AT&T's website is att.net. Somebody may put AT and then the word AT&T. AT&T, not the same website as ATT. So, phishing and pharming are when somebody gets in touch with you and tells you, for example, hey, our system has crashed and you need to put in your card number and your PIN number to reactivate your debit card. I've seen that one. The bank is not going to ask you your PIN number, and this is just a phishing or farming exercise to try to get your personal information, because whatever website they've connected to is going to get your information and try to steal money from you. So the last thing I want to talk about under technology is your personal privacy. And some people wonder, why are you putting this under technology? Why aren't you sticking to the textbook? And I think that this is really important, that as college students, you realize how much of your privacy is missing sometimes. So let's start with emails. Personally, I recommend that you have 3 different emails. Now let's back up and say, how much does it cost to get an email from Gmail? Nothing, okay? It's free. So 3 different emails. The first being your school email. You have to get in touch with me via the school email, period. I'm not even allowed to respond to emails that are not through Mitchell's email system. Second email you should get is an email that only your friends and family know. You guard this email as if it were top secret. You don't give this out to anyone except friends and family. And then the third email is what I call your junk email. When somebody at a store that, lots of stores do this now, is there an email we may contact you at? That's the email you use. You don't use your email for friends and family. You use a junk email. You're still giving them an email address, but you don't even check that, or you don't have to check that, and you don't really care who has that, because the only thing you're going to use that for is junk email. So 3 different emails. That actually protects your privacy, because businesses sell information, and so they're selling your personal privacy. Just for fun, sometime misspell your name. Like, my name is Wise, spell it W-E-I-S instead of W-I-S-E, and see how much junk email you get with the misspelling. And that means that whoever you originally gave that to has sold it to all those different people. So that protects your personal privacy. Another thing that I want you all to be aware of, and I just Googled this not too long ago, on average, the American citizen or person living in America is photographed 100 times a day. Now just let that sink in, okay? On Interstate 77, there's cameras everywhere. Almost every store you go in has cameras. There's cameras all over campus. On average, you are photographed 100 times a day. There's really not that many places that you can hide from cameras. So I just want you to realize that, so that you know doing something stupid in public is probably going to be captured by camera. So the 2 things that I want you to get out of this lecture and this chapter is the difference between data and information, and the idea that it's up to you to protect your personal privacy, and you should be taking an active role in that. If you have any questions, let me know.